Well, hey everybody. Welcome to week one. We thought that it would never come, but it looks like we have week one upon us. Remember that just about every single week, I think all the way up to week 15 or 16, we have games on Thursday nights. So make sure that if you have any players that you want to start on your roster that are playing Thursday night, make sure that you update your roster for those players. You don't have to do the whole roster because the way our league is set up, it is the start of that player's specific game. So realistically, if you have multiple players playing on each night or each day, you should be able to move them around accordingly to make sure you get the right roster that you want to start. So with that being said, we do have a few things I want to go over real quick before we get into the week one matchups. Might have a little bit of fun with that. Number one, I forgot to talk to you guys just after the draft, but we are going to do, I do need to put some money in a pool for the trophy. It's a little less than $10 a person for the trophy. I want to get that ordered so we have that. Also, we were going to throw another $10 on the season, as it were. I know last year I think we did $20 on the season, but I think we'll just drop it down to 10 if everybody wants to pitch in for the trophy. Then it'll be 20 total. So 10 will go towards the pool, and then we'll divvy up. I will post a poll at the bottom of the video here, somewhere in the comments or somewhere that will kind of basically go over how we want to split up the money that'll be in there. So we've got 10 teams, $100. So we'll kind of split up how that gets divvied, and then the rest of the money will go towards ordering the trophy, and then that will be the perpetual trophy that everybody gets to keep with their championship plaque on it. So Derek and Beth and Zach have all paid already. They paid because they stayed a little bit longer after the draft. So if anybody does want to buy in, if I could get that money before week 3, that would be great. So basically by the end of the month, if I could get that money. So, and Christina and I are also paid. So we just need some from the Bombers, the Moose, the Wookiees, Team Wood, and the Apples. So we'll just get those buy-ins, and then we'll be golden. So that's it for all of that stuff regarding the trophy and all that. Also, I wanted to talk a little bit about the water bet system. Outside of, just a normal random bet, somebody putting money on it, I thought this would be kind of a fun thing to where we could still put some stake in the game if somebody wanted to bet that their player was better than another player, or that they would have more points scored this week, or that they were going to beat the other team, or whatever we want to bet, whatever you feel like throwing out there. Essentially what it is it's an app, and here's the screen cast of it real quick. You can put it on your phone and your iPad, and it's basically just a friendly way of having some fun with bets where there's not a whole lot on the line other than the fact that you're going to get wet. So essentially, whoever wins, you can do it on video, or we can all get together for a week, and whoever does the bets, and basically run through this wheel. And so you would spin it, and then whatever it comes out to be, as you can see right here, essentially it explains what that water bet is, and you just fill up a Dixie cup with some water, and you get to splash the person who lost in a creative way. I think it's kind of fun. Adds a little bit more, randomness to the league. I plan on using it. I would love for everybody else to use it. I know some people won't be willing to. That's fine. But I'd like to have some participation. I know there's probably a few teams out there that would be willing to throw down some water bets just for fun. So also, I would like to talk a little bit about trades and things like that. In years past, we haven't had a whole lot of trades. I don't know if it's just because people they just feel like they're stuck with their team or whatever. All they do is basically pick up, add, and drop on the waiver wire. But if you have a player that you really want that somebody else has, offer up a trade. We don't have any veto system or anything like that. We do ask that you play fair because there are couples in the league, so no collusion. I know Christina and I, we don't collude, so it's just it makes the game a little more interesting, makes things a little more fun. Throw some trades out there. Trade deadlines, I think, is almost all the way to the end of the season. So just go out, have fun. A championship team is not won at the draft. It has to do with how well you pick your players to start each week, how well you play the waiver wire, keeping an eye on upcoming people, injury reports, who you're going to pick up to replace somebody. If a running back gets hurt, do you jump on there right away as soon as the waiver wire is open and pick up that person's backup? Trades, offering up trades, things like that. And we do ask that you, try to make the trade as fair as possible, because we do have some folks in the league that don't keep up as much on, player values and things like that. So we do ask that, you do keep it realistic and fair for everybody. It's basically on the honor system, which is why we don't do a veto system, because I just think veto just gets in the way and starts arguments and fights, and it's no good for anybody. So also, there is no add drop limit. There's no price per players or anything like that on the waiver wire. You can pick up and drop to your heart's content. The waiver wire does reopen. It closes after the first game starts for the week, and it reopens after the Monday Night Football game. I think it is Pacific Standard Time, so it's midnight Pacific Standard Time, Monday, Tuesday, that transition. So that's when it reopens. There's no claiming system or anything like that. So all that being said, I think it would be kind of fun. Let's get into some of the previews, some of the matchups for the week. Okay, so what I'm going to do is do a little bit of a preview. Since we don't have games last week, then I guess that just means that we just do in the preview. Next week we'll have a recap and a preview. So the first matchup that I'm going to look at is going to be the Wookiees and the Bombers. So let's take a look at the Wookiees and the Bombers. Okay, I'm hoping that everyone has set their rosters already. I highly doubt it. It is kind of early in the week. But looking at it right now, as far as the ESPN is concerned, your projections, looks like the Wookiees might take it. It does look like it's going to be a close game, 91-82. I do have a little bit more of a good feeling about good old Big Ben against Washington versus Rivers versus Kansas City. So I think that might be a nice matchup to follow. Gurley against the San Francisco 49ers for the Wookiees. I'm thinking he's going to have a good day there. I think it's going to be a close one. I don't see a whole lot of production out of Cobb against Jacksonville. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be anxious to throw the ball a lot because they have a very poor pass defense. But I could be wrong. Other than that, I think I'm going to have to go with the Wookiees on this one. I think they're going to pull out the win. Unless the Bombers do something spectacular with their lineup. I think that the Wookiees had a little bit better starting lineup from what it looks like to me. I will say that it'll be interesting with the defensive matchup. I think that Carolina might get run over by the Broncos, but with that offense, it's a little shaky. I don't feel 100% about that offense. So it'll be interesting to see how that one turns out. All right, on to the Bunches of Funches. I love that, by the way. Bunches of Funches versus Des a warm breeze blowing. Very creative team names, guys. I love the puns. Looks pretty funny. I think I'm going to go right out of the gate and say that Breeze blowing is probably going to pull this one out. I just like a lot of their matchups this week. Their quarterback matchup, I mean, Drew Brees against Oakland. Sure, Oakland does look a little bit better offensively, but defensively, I didn't see anything during the preseason this year that really, stood out to me. So I think Drew Brees is going to have a heck of a time just throwing the ball all over the place and having a good old time racking up the points against Oakland there. A lot of Drew Brees' offense looks pretty healthy, so I think that the Breeze blowing are going to ride out a win this week on the back of Drew Brees. Other than that, I don't see much else in this one too spectacular. I do like, however, the Texans matchup with the Vikings. So I think that defense with J.J. Watt, there's going to be lots of sacks there. So I think they're going to score a lot of points for Funches. But in the end, I think that Breeze blowing is going to be the one that pulls this one out. All right, on to the next matchup. We have the Boscos versus the Apples. This one, I think, after looking at a lot of the matchups, this one is going to be probably the tightest game of the week in our league. It's going to be really, really tight. Both teams have favorable matchups, and both teams have not so favorable matchups. So we'll see how that one rides out. Seattle's defense looked pretty good in the preseason. The Rams, not so much. So I think that might be a little bit of a question mark for the Apples. However, they are playing the 49ers, so honestly, who knows? That Chip Kelly offense, sure, they could be potentially just completely mind-blowing, but then they could be a complete disaster like they were last year. So really, who knows at this point? Other than that, there are, again, quite a few matchups. I think that there's some good running back matchups, some good wide receiver matchups. If this was a PPR league, it would make this game really interesting. For those who don't know what PPR is, that's points per reception. So you can set leagues up where you can have a half a point for each reception or a full point. Kind of adds a little extra twist, makes the importance of drafting wide receivers a little bit higher. But for the most part, really what we have to look at is we're not doing that. It's pretty much standard. So across the board, closest matchup, if I had to call this one, I'm going to probably go with the Boscos just because of Seattle's defense, and the wide receiver matchups look pretty good on the Boscos. So that's what I'm thinking. Again, could be wrong, but that's what I'm calling for this matchup. All right, next matchup, we have the Aristocats versus the Moose. I really, really want to see how Derek Carr does this year. I think Cam Newton's probably going to put up quite a few points, but at the same time, Derek Carr looked really good last year, and all he's had time to do is improve. So that should be an interesting quarterback matchup between the two teams. Odell Beckham on the Aristocats, I think, is going to put up a huge amount of points. Matt Jones, Devontae Freeman, that running back core on the Moose, I think, is going to be a really strong one. I think that I'm going to probably go with the Aristocrats on this matchup, just because the wide receiver core is pretty impressive. I think that the Giants are going to ride out Odell Beckham's production. He's just going to be a touchdown scoring machine. So I'm going to have to go with the Aristocrats this week on this one, just because the matchups are a little more favorable. But I still think it's going to be pretty close. But we'll see. All right, and last but not least, fitting that Week 1's matchups are between me and the wife. So we have the Mad Men versus the Housewives. I am a little scared of the Housewives draft this year. They did really well. David Johnson is going to just kill it this year. He looked amazing last year, and I think he's probably going to be a running back one this year. I think he's going to finish with the top points for running backs. And they've got Sanders and Landry. I mean, it's a pretty good wide receiver core there. I do like my chances with Lamar Miller. However, the rest of my running back core, little sketchy. Lamar Miller looks really good. I love it. But C.J. Anderson, still questionable. Depends on how well that offensive line for Denver is going to be this year. Last year, Anderson did have a slow start, but he came on really strong at the end of the year. So I'm hoping that just kind of carries over. The few plays that he did play in the preseason, I was really impressed. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. It's going to be a close one. So we'll just have to see. Who knows? If everything pans out, I'm hoping that I win, but there's a good chance that the Housewives are going to win this one. So, all right. Well, that's it for the predictions. I don't claim to be an expert. I just like having fun with it. It just adds a little bit of extra entertainment each week. I love doing it for you guys. So if you agree with me, disagree with me, want some trash talk, anything like that, just comment down below. Let me know. Give me your predictions. That's always fun. I want to establish communication. I want to establish trash talk. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and we'll have fun this week. Just remember, make sure that you set your lineup for your Thursday night game if you've got anybody for Carolina or Denver playing. And then Sunday morning, if you've got church like Christina and I do, we've got to remember to get our lineup set before service. So it's gonna be crunch time. So good luck this week, guys, and let's have fun. Talk to you soon.